Okay, hi everyone, it's Professor Sebastian. I'm back with our section 7.4 statistics class notes, and we're on page 109. Okay, so example 138. During a recent semester, 63 of 159 MAT 223 students randomly surveyed said they had a negative situation occur to them based on a posting on social media. Let's estimate the percent of all Flagler College students who had a negative situation occur to them based on a posting on social media. So we're going to estimate that with a confidence interval, and we're going to work all the way through this one by hand, showing you that you can actually determine these confidence intervals by hand. And in the next example, I'll show you how to do it with StatCrunch. Okay, so first of all, what percent of the students surveyed had a negative situation occur to them based on a posting on social media? So this is the percent of the students surveyed, which is p hat. So we had 63 out of 159. If you change that to a decimal portion of it, that's the proportion, which is 0.3962 or 39.62%. And the symbol we use to represent that percent or proportion is p hat. That's the value of the sample statistic. Remember, we're trying to estimate the population parameter, which we don't know. Okay, so we should always check the conditions of the central limit theorem to make sure that it's okay to go ahead and create a confidence interval. So first of all, we have to make sure the sample is random and independent, and for the most part, we just assume that it was done correctly. Is the sample large enough? We have to have at least 10 successes and 10 failures. So a success here is that there was a negative situation occurred to these students. So that's n times p hat, which is 159 times 0.3962, which of course is 63. I mean, that's how we got 0.3962, right? We took 63 and divided by 159. So when you have a sample, you can just count the number, and that's your successes of the statistic that you're looking at and the population parameter you're trying to estimate. Just count the number at 63. So the other half, or not the other half, but the remaining of that 150 sample, which is 96, is also greater than 10. So the sample is large enough. But again, if you have to use a formula, it's n times 1 minus p hat, which is 159 times 1 minus 0.3962, which comes out to be 96. All right, now the last thing that we have to check for the central limit theorem to work is the population at least 10 times larger than the sample? So there's about 2,500 Flagler College students, which is more than 10 times our sample size, which is 159. So there's 1,590 would be that, and the population of Flagler College is certainly bigger than that. So now we need to calculate the standard error estimate, which is the estimate for the standard deviation of our sampling distribution, which remember has a mean of p and the standard deviation of the standard error. We don't know either, so we estimate both. Standard error estimate is p hat times 1 minus p hat divided by n, then take the square root. So there's the calculation. That comes out to be 0.0388 if I keep 4 decimals. And we want to construct a 95% confidence interval. So the value of z star that we need to use, remember we're being more precise now. We're not using the empirical rule and saying it's 2 standard deviations away. We're using the more precise value of z star, which is 1.96. So the margin of error, m, is that z star times the standard error estimate. So 1.96 times 0.0388 comes out to be 0.0760. Then you subtract that margin of error from p hat. That gives you the lower limit of the confidence interval. So p hat minus m comes out to be 0.3202. And you add the margin of error to the sample proportion, so p hat plus m, to get the upper limit of the confidence interval. So that comes out to be 0.4722. So if I label this so I can visualize this interval, remember the interval goes from p hat minus m to p hat plus m. P hat's in the middle then, right? So p hat was 0.3962. We subtracted the standard error estimate and we got 0.3202. That's the lower limit. We added the standard error to p hat and we got 0.4722. So the way you interpret this confidence interval is you make a statement like the following. We say we are 95% confident that the percentage of all Flagler College students who had a negative situation occur to them based on a posting on social media is somewhere between 32.02% and 47.22%, the lower limit and the upper limit of our confidence interval.